DJDUBL.
It's DJDUBL here, and today I've got another one, sat with someone that I can certifiably say is a legend in this business, you know? And you can't throw them kind of words around lightly either.
It's not, man. It's not. It's one to be taken seriously when someone uses a word like that.
Yeah, Fazer, what's going on, man?
I'm good, you know. Good to be here, man. Happy to be here, bro. Thanks for having me, bro.
There's so many different things that I could introduce you as. You've got so many strings to the bow. But I think at the moment, most prominently, artists/producers probably the right...
Yeah, definitely.
The right, excuse the pun, but phase.
Yeah,
that we're in right now.
No pun intended, but yeah, definitely, yeah.
Would you say you were a better artist or a better producer?
That's a hard one, man. I take just as much passion in both. So I don't know, man. I'm an artist. I'm an all-rounded artist, to be honest with you. I think the production comes under that category of being an artist for me, anyway. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Given your track record, all the things that you've achieved in the past as well.
Yeah.
I think it might be like, it's not a stretch to say you might be one of the most successful producers in the country.
It's
like
a lot to
millions
live
of
up to, man.
record
There's
sales. You've got a lot of big names that you've produced for as well.
Man. It's been a good run, man. It's been a hell of a good run, and I'll tell you now, honestly, man, I feel like it's just the beginning, bro. Like, I feel like the best is yet to come, and phase 2 of my life right now.
Yeah, phase 2. It's funny you said that, actually, because I noticed that this time round, the Instagram's been wiped clean. And now there's like a new phase of I can't stop saying that word now. I don't think I ever used the word phase, and now I'm just using it all the time.
I had that effect. Man. It's crazy.
So like the Instagram's been wiped clean and all the promo is fresh for this.
Yes.
The YouTube channel is, excuse me, looking very fresh, all new content. Indeed. So are we reaching like Fazer 2.0 now?
That's exactly what we're at, man. We're at Fazer 2.0 on steroids, ready to take over the world type thing, man. And I've been working for the last 8 months, head down in the studio, day and night, grafting on this sound that I've been devising for myself, which is just like unique to me. And I don't feel like, it's not too far away from where music's at right now, but it's my own lane and my interpretation of that.
It's interesting you said that, because I've heard you speak in the past about, as a producer, and if you want to kind of just fit into like the landscape, you have to be aware and you have to listen to what's going on. And kind of make something to fit in without copying it. Yeah, exactly. So your mindset with the music you're making now, is it completely like, this is what I want to do, or are you doing, this is what I want to do, but also it needs to connect with that as well?
I'm doing songs that I just want to play in my car and bang, bruv, to be honest with you. Like, the songs I'm making right now are things that I just like banging in my car. But the stuff that I listen to outside of myself, it's very in that lane as well. So I don't know, it is kind of what's popping right now, but it's my own flavour to it. As one thing as a producer, I'm very good at is devising a sound for someone. Like, if you was to come to me and say, Fazer, you got some beats for me, I'll be like, bro, that's just not how I run my business. Send me some links to what you've got, what you're working on right now. I'll measure you up. It's more like Savile Row in a sense. Like, I'll measure something up. I listen to what you got, then I'll think, okay, what hasn't he got? And then I'll cook up something for you, and I'll make 3 songs. And out of those 3 songs, you're gonna take one of them, because I know your sound now. So I can make sounds. So my thing is, I did it for Dubz. I done a whole sound that was unique for Dubz. No one had that sound as musically. And I'm doing the same with myself right now. I don't feel like many people have got my sound. This is its own thing.
Yeah. I agree, man. So it's like, that's the difference really between a beat maker and a producer, isn't it? So whenever I sit with producers, we always have this conversation, and it's like,
it's a difference, man, and that's a big difference of being a beat maker and, I'd say, a producer or a record maker, because you can always make beats. I can make beats in 10 minutes, like trap beats and all that stuff is light work for man. But to make a record, there's a lot more that goes into it than just putting a few sounds together.
Has the way that you make music changed over time? So obviously the early Dubz stuff, and obviously before Dubz was a thing, you must have been producing already.
Oh yeah, of course. Like
to now, so has it changed?
Oh yeah, of course, man. Like the equipment and stuff, like it's made life easier. Do you know what I mean? And whereas if I didn't have knowledge on a certain subject, and I need to get knowledge from that. I'd probably have to speak to a sound engineer or something like that. Whereas now we got YouTube, innit? Like I can just go in there, find a tutorial on what I'm looking for, learn it in 10-15 minutes, and I'm away, mate.
Crazy.
It's mad.
It's like the Matrix. You know that in the Matrix where you're like, I need to fly a helicopter. Operator, like, let's fly a helicopter. Boom, and it's there. That's how I feel like the YouTube's getting closer, man. Are you still producing and recording with a lot of artists at the moment, or is it just Fazer's turn now?
Yeah, like I said, man, last 8-9 months, I just like closed the doors to all outside production and everything like that, and just said, you know what, it's time to get serious for me. Fazer 2.0 now, forever. Even if Dubz come back, even when Dubz come back, off the back of that, I'll still be doing Fazer. So from now and forever, it's gonna be Fazer the artist, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's interesting. So you're mentioning the Dubz comeback, which actually wasn't anything I was really going to broach on, because I figure as Fazer and with your history, it's something that you always get asked about. You know, it's one of those things, because it was such an iconic part of UK music and almost like opened the doors for a lot of what's going on now.
Definitely did.
I
remember at the time there was nothing. We opened the doors for the whole scene, mate.
It was what was it before? It was really kind of so solid, and
but then they closed the doors because of all the stuff that was happening in the shows and all the violence that was going on around it. So they kind of closed the door on the scene behind them on the way out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it took for someone like us to come through and reopen those doors again. And since then they've been open, but we didn't close them on the way out.
Is it ever a kind of a topic or a question that you get sick of being asked about, like the Dubz reunion?
Yeah.
Straight out, like yeah,
because we've said it all the time, like that it's Dubz is the base. It's always gonna come back to that at some point, innit? Like, but right now we've got other things that we're focusing on, innit? Do you know what I mean? So there's other things at hand, another task at hand that need to be dealt with before that happens. Yeah,
and it's good to see, like, it's almost like, especially with what you're doing now, with what Dappy's got going on as well, things are starting to become relevant again. Does that make sense? Like, everyone's talking.
There's a reason for everything, man. Trust me.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in the UK scene right now?
Right now? Listen, how I see it is like, alright, cool, man done iconic stuff, innit? Like, but right now I feel like I'm at the beginning of my career. It's weird. Like, people say you've done so much. Like, how can you feel like that? But I'm just like, yo, I've never ever gone out and said I'm doing a solo thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really said, like, I want people to open up my life and my story to the world. I've never ever done that, innit? So, it's just one of those times in my life now where I just want to just get to work, man, and let people know there's actually a story behind this. There's levels behind this, and there's trials and tribulations and ups and downs that I've been through to get me to where I am now. Where I am in the industry, like I said, I just feel like I'm starting at the bottom. I'm back to basics, you hit me? And then just building. We're on the upward climb right now, so it's all good. Everything's going to plan.
Before we talk specifically about, like, the music that you got going on, I want to understand your label situation.
Yeah.
So Sky's the Limit
is
the most prominent name that I'm seeing out there.
Yes.
Which is your own outfit, right? So it's your own label.
It's my own label, yeah. We are a production/management company and also a record label.
So everything you release as Fazer is under Sky's the Limit. So effectively you're signed to yourself.
I'm signed to myself, to my own label. We got distribution, but just to make sure that we can get our songs on Spotify and in the right platforms at the right time, and it just saves a lot of ag on our side. So we got distribution from, if you haven't got any sort of distribution, you should check them out. They're called a company called Cobalt. They do a division. It's called Artists Without a Label. It's called AWOL. So if you haven't got a label, they do a lot of distribution for works for artists that haven't got a label.
Okay.
So I have my distribution with them. They get up to all my Spotify and everything like that, and everything is in house, bro. I produce, write all my own music, no management, nothing, bro.
Bad in real life.
Yeah.
Is obviously the most impactful thing that's going on right now. Obviously you produced it for yourself.
Yeah, me and my young protege that I'm bringing up, you know, Swan Sounds. Shout out to Swan Sounds as well, yeah.
Swan Sounds. Okay.
A little 19-year-old producer and writer, just like me. He reminds me of myself. Just writes, produces all his own stuff. 19 years old. I'm bringing him up under me. I'm gonna bring him out through me as well. So
what's the goal with him? Release him as like a producer artist.
Yeah, and he's already doing his thing on his own anyway. He's building his thing gradually, and then obviously once this starts taking off and getting to the levels it needs to get to, and I start promoting his thing properly, then he's next up, innit?
Yeah, sick. The song sounds very, very current.
Yeah.
Like when I listen to it, I could picture it. I hope you take this the right way. I could picture it as a Mo Stack record.
Yeah.
Or do you know what I mean? Like it fits into what's going on right
and
now.
I consciously made a record like that.
Right.
Like I consciously went in the studio and said I want to make a record that has that sort of Afro-typey beat, swingy sort of thing, but then I can spray bars on it and melodies and just have fun with it. Make a fun record.
Was it difficult to do to make like such a current sounding record?
No, not at all, because I work with so many producers and artists in my life on a regular basis that it doesn't allow time for me to get dated in a sense.
Right, yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't. If I was just sitting there for the last 5 years, just not doing nothing, making beats in my bedroom, and I was just thinking they're hard, and my ears are close to the scene, mate, it would be a nightmare to try and do it. But whereas I'm out there and I'm active in the scene, I'm working with artists, I'm working with this artist, I'm working with that artist, my ears are to the streets, I'm producing 24/7 in my house, bro.
Yeah.
It's always going to be current. I can't do anything that's not current. I move with the times, bro.
Has it done what you'd expected it to do so far in terms
bro.
of streaming numbers,
Streaming
video
numbers, everything, yeah. Where it is doing amazing right now, and it's a full organic growth. And like I said, it's independent. It's not with a major push or anything like that. So where we're at right now, the numbers are flying in right now, bro. Like, man, hit 30k views in one day yesterday. Like, so I'm
sick.
just like, yo, if it keeps moving like that, we're good.
So knowing what you've learned in the past and starting as a solo artist now,
Yeah.
has it benefited you and kind of given you a head start, or do you think in a way it's set you back because you've got that kind of mindset of, oh, well, I've had 1 million sales, like it's 4 million records, etc.
No, it hasn't really set me back, yeah. But what it did, it gave me a lot of knowledge and stuff throughout the industry. I've done a lot of learning, and even when we started releasing like this record, Bad in Real Life, yeah. And obviously I'm doing it all myself type of thing, like pulling teams together and making sure everything is popping and how it's supposed to be set. You kind of realise how much work actually goes into it, brother. It's mad, you know. Like, and I think about, the guys that used to manage us, and I was like, yo, but they man had a lot of work to do, you know.
Yeah, with three of you as well.
I was like, them man had a lot of work to do, like just as in like planning stuff and making strategies and how to move it. Just all of that sort of stuff. It takes time, meeting people, meeting the team that's gonna run your project for you, going out, running the lunches and all of that sort of stuff. It's just a time-consuming thing, man. Do you know? And I didn't really realise that until I kind of started doing it on my own, like type of thing. And then obviously having to be active on emails and stuff where I didn't really care about emails and texts. I was like the worst on the phone. Trust me, my guys over here will tell you like...
You're a label boss now, bro.
Trust me, I have to. Be on the phone. I got 2 phones in that round. So and I got 2 phones, and it's for the right reasons.
Yes, amazing. You uploaded the video to the STL channel, the Sky's the Limit channel.
Yes.
Now, it may have got more views and may have got a bigger impact if it had been on one of the other leading platforms.
Oh yeah, of course, 100%.
So what was the mindset behind just putting it on your channel and maybe sacrificing views? Does that make sense?
Longevity.
Okay.
Longevity. I'm not here for just a quick, let me get 1 million views, everyone talk about me in and out type thing. I'm here, bro, for the next 10, 15 years, bro. I'm not going nowhere. Man, have to get used to, man, innit? Like, simple. Like, that's why I set it up on my own thing. Because you know what? Just going back to my group, brother. Sorry, man. Dubz is bigger than a lot. Like, not like that, but in the sense, like, we've got our own fan base, we've got our own following, and Dubz has proved that recently. 20 million views, 20 million streams, but without a platform, bro. So, like, the fan base is still there. You just got to wake them up and everything, like that type of thing, and then take it from there, really, man.
Yeah, I noticed the I Wayne reference in the tune. Are you a bit of a reggae fan there?
Well, listen, my mum's Jamaican, man. Listen, my mum's got 7 sisters, 4 brothers. Do you think on Christmas,
family parties,
and that we're at Granddad's house.
One drop.
Hey, listen. Then, man, so when all of these songs here, they always they play throughout my whole life as a child, like, you know, no one's there. And it just came about on that track that it sounded good and it was kind of relevant for what the track was about, and the melody is a classic melody, and I consciously think about songs, visuals and performance and everything while I'm writing. So I think certain lines, what part of the line could the DJ stop the music like that and I can just go like that,
Yeah.
And the crowd say that lyric back with certain things like, I cut the track, I know you're in Dubai. Yeah, why's your sugar daddy looking like Wenga? It's like the most basic flow I could have ever thought of, and I made sure that it's just like a basic flow. Hear the words, everything. It's like, what did he say? No, not too much to take in. Easy listening.
Yeah. It's interesting that obviously that's another thing that your experience has given you. You can write songs with that in mind.
Yeah.
What parts do I stop and what parts do they sing back to me? Like that's super smart.
And just like silly little catchy lines and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? This little gimmicky things. It works, man.
Does work. The artwork. Remix the classic album cover. I'm just gonna. That's a bold move, if I'm honest.
It is, isn't it? It is, man. But you know what, bro? Like that cover marked a point in my life of kind of like set me up to wanting to be a musician and an artist and be out there in the public eye as a performer. That song there, that era, that whole Michael Jackson thing was a big inspiration for me. Like, do you know what I mean? So we was thinking about the artwork, Bad. And the title of the song, what are we gonna call it? Bad. Bad in real life, we're gonna call it the initials BIRL. What are we going with? Bad. And then we was like, everyone was leaning towards, let's just call it bad. And then while we was having that conversation, I've got a good team around me of creative people. Like, so my creative manager is also my little brother sitting over there. He was like, why didn't you do the Michael Jackson Bad cover, but in like an illustrated artwork like type thing? I said, that would be actually pretty sick. Yeah. So we put it together. I sent it to the illustrator and the digital guy. Yeah. And it came back as it was, man. We was pissing us. He was like, literally laughing at ourselves.
Yeah. So one thing I always ask artists is what I call the ultimate collaboration.
Yeah.
So dead or alive, anyone ever. So is that kind of an obvious question to ask you now?
Yeah, man. But still, I'd work with Prince as well. Like, okay. You know why? Because the man's, you see these guys there, they're mad musical, bro. Like, see Prince
on a different level.
See Prince, bro. The guy plays every instrument under the sun, bloody. He'll get on the stage, he'll kick his drummer off the drum kit and play the drum solo, bro. Like, it's not a joke. Like, so like, there's inspiring people, man. I don't know if someone like Prince or something like Michael Jackson. I don't know, man. There's loads of people that I'd love to work with that are not live, man.
6'8".
Yeah.
When was that record recorded?
That record was recorded in 2012, 13.
Okay. Which is kind of mad because listening to it now, it's another one. It doesn't sound out of place.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
To me, it sounds dated as hell, bro. Like when I hear it, like
because
it's on the YouTube channel, isn't it?
That's right. So it was only uploaded like a month ago.
Do you know what it was? Yeah, I put it up like when it came out and stuff, and then after a while, I was just like, just take it down, man. Take it down. And then I only just re-uploaded it to the personal YouTube channel, the STO one, just so when the fans subscribe and everything like that, there's content on there. Yeah, I've got a few other unreleased videos that I ain't ever put out, but I might just put them up on there as well. Planetary was one of them.
Throwback Thursday, man.
Yeah, man, trust me. You know what it was, yeah? You see, like, after the back of Dubz, I done a whole album, bruv. I was asked to do a whole album by a major label, bruv. Done the whole album. They didn't want to release nothing, bruv. I was bringing single after single, Fireflies, Killer, and nothing. After that, I just said, you know what, I'm just going to concentrate on my production for a bit and just laid low on the solo thing. I've recorded a whole album. There's a whole album of mad music, but levels, like, it's crazy, but like, for the time away it was way ahead. Way ahead musically. And anyway, I was just like, you know what, I might just put it up on my Spotify at some point and just call it the 2012 unreleased pack or something.
Yeah.
You know
why not, bro? You get the streams. Streams is revenue.
True.
So
I didn't even look at it like that, but I was just like, just give it to the fans, let them have it, bruv.
In 6'8", you mentioned you made your first mil at age 22.
It's mad still.
When you're that age and you're making that kind of money, what's the mindset? Because I'll be honest, I'm a bit older than that.
Yeah.
And if I made that kind of money, I feel even now at this age, I'd still be a bit silly with it and unruly. Do you know what I mean?
I was never silly with money. I think the most expensive thing I ever bought was my car, which was an Audi Q7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brand new?
No, I bought it from used Audi dealership.
Okay.
So, and I used to pay myself like £500 a week, like dividends, like £2,000 a month.
Who taught you to be that way? Because let's be real, there's not a lot of 22-year-old millionaires about.
No.
So like, you could be the man. amongst your peers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I just learned through trials and tribulations and ups and downs and the hard way. I never got taught anything. Everything was just like through experience and okay, that's never gonna happen again. For like, yeah, it's one of them ones. Like my mum got my first publishing check, 25 grand. That was the best summer of my life. That 25 grand lasted about 3 or 4 months, but I had rentals out, took my boys shopping, went Hatton Gardens, bought jewels. After it, like I had no car because I had to give the rental back. I had no clothes. The clothes that I had there were starting to look a bit ratchet. And what else did I have is to show a few bits of jewels. And I was just like, oh, never again.
So that was the lesson then. So that's how you learned to be smart with it.
Yeah.
I see, man. When Dappy came back out last year and he dropped his freestyle, Straight Facts it was called.
Yes.
He mentioned about, and I think this was him talking about as a solo artist, his tour manager taking advantage, and he talked about a lot of music industry people taking advantage of him and the position that he was in.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know from you, obviously being that age and having that kind of money coming in, and you guys were the hottest name about.
Oh, it's mad.
At such a young age, how did you, or even were you protected from people trying to extort you or take advantage? Or do you know what I mean? Like, you might not know that PRS is a thing. So you might not know that this money from radio. Do you know what I mean? So how did you...
We had our PRS set up from the jump, man, from when we didn't even start releasing songs. So we was already on that. Dappy's dad helped us along the way with that and said, look, set up your PRS, you're going to need that in the future. Yeah. Type of thing. So we've set that up from early. So we always had our PRS and the MCPS and PPO and stuff like that. Our first 2 releases, I swear, and that was all on our own label and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? We was building.
So that was under the guidance of Dappy's dad, right?
Yeah,
so,
we was building to become a major record label, right? As Dubz, and we was flying. And obviously, he passed, and the rest is history. The labels came involved, and that dream went somewhere else. And like we would have been a major label by now.
Did you find that when the labels got involved and suddenly tour managers were involved in all this stuff? Do you think like people were taking advantage at the time?
Oh yeah, listen, man, we're 3 young kids, bro. We're doing flipping 296 shows in a year and stuff like that. Like we've hardly got time to look over accounts, this, that, and the other. Mate, people were invoicing for madness and they were getting paid, bro. Right. Like obviously we're not in the offices to approve every single payment that comes in. Yeah. So someone has to do it on our behalf because we're either touring, we're doing photo shoot or video shoot, or in the studio recording an album, or spending time with the family because we've been on the road for the last 8 months. Like, do you know what I mean? Like all that sort of stuff. So and then afterwards, when everything slows down and you start looking into things, you're like, rah, my man was taking a mic like that. I have to call my man on my phone and just have to boy man off, like. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Because us man come from a real set. We're from Camden, bruv. But like, we're not pushovers. Like, we've never been pushovers type of thing, innit? So we do get mad, bruv, and we put it on people, bruv. Yeah, I guess the difficulty though, when it's a corporate world, it's just a company invoice. Like, what can you do, really, innit? Like, what I'm saying, man. Crazy. If there was one thing you could change about your time in the music industry, what would it be? I wouldn't change nothing, bro. Not a single thing? Not a single thing. Do you know why? Go on. Because I feel like everything is part of the plan, and everything is part of how our destiny is, but like you can't force your destiny. And to be honest with you, like me, I'm just like, yo, if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. If it's not type of thing. And the way that it happened was meant to happen like that, bruv. And I wouldn't change that for nothing, man. No regrets and that. That's a sick outlook. What's the aspiration now for Fazer? Aspiration? Yeah. Right now, I just want to take over. Like, I want to be recognized as a credible all-rounder. Like, so when you think of my peers, bro, don't look at many people over here, because there's not many that do what I do. So when you think about what I do, think of your Swizz Beats, think of your Kanye West that writes, raps and produces, think of your J. Cole's that write, raps and produces, think of your Russ that write, raps and produces, and they're independent and they're on their own. That's my lane. Yeah. So when you think about who's Fazer, who should we compare Fazer to, they're the guys that you should be comparing me to, not no one else. Sick. Do you know what I mean? I'm just in my own lane. I know what is going on in the scene. My sound's not far away from that, but it's different enough for me to just stay in my own lane. Yeah. Straight to the point. I like that, bro. Come on, bro. I have to, man. You know what it is, and I got the confidence behind it to back it up, bro, and the work rate and the knowledge as well, man. You've been through the machine once already, so yeah, bro.
You know your way
man.
around.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny one. But say Fazer bust twice, blood. How did he do it?
Sick, sick. It's been a pleasure, bro. Thanks very much for your time, man.
Love, man. Every time, man. Listen, I like this interview, man. This was really cool. And yeah, man. If you guys haven't, man, watch what the rest of my guys doing, because he's got a lot coming up, man. And I like your interviews and your whole platform, man. It's a good look, man. Congratulations, man.
Thank you, bro.
Onwards and upwards, man. Keep working, bro.
My guy, DJ Double here with Fazer.
Come on, shoo.